Hi everyone, welcome back to the Mixed Concepts channel for another IRL cricket chat about the ICC Cricket World Cup League 2. So the upcoming League 2 tri-series is between USA, Scotland and Nepal in Nepal. Yeah, I did mention about this in my previous video. So the last two videos I made about the previous tri-series was a little more unbiased and just from a neutral point of view. However, this time it will be a bit more biased because I'm a USA cricket fan if you've seen my videos before. I support USA, and I'm also from the USA, so I have to support USA. But yeah, so it's gonna be more along the lines of what can USA do, and hopefully they can perform well in this tri series and maintain the first position that they're in the ICC Cricket World Cup League 2 table. Well, let's start off with the squad that they've selected for this ODI tri series. It's pretty much the same squad compared to the T20 World Cup squad, but there are a couple of changes which I agree with, and one change which I absolutely am surprised with. So I don't see Andreas Haus in the squad. Understandable, he's more of a T20I specialist, I would say. And they bought back Smith Patel for this ODI tri series, which I think might be a good choice. Smith Patel, he's been doing well in the ODI, so I see why not for this change. I agree with it. Jesse Singh is back. Yeah, he was supposed to be there in the T20 World Cup squad, but because he got injured in the warm-up match, so he was ruled out of the tournament. And now he's back, so good to see him back. He's the vice captain as well of the team. He may not be the most talented player, but he is an effort player, so I'll give him that. He's also the vice captain, so can't really drop the captain in command. And then the one change which really surprised me is Ritvik Apidi, the under 19 player who played in this year's under 19 World Cup. He was selected over Shadley Van Schalkwyk. I cannot believe that. Unless Shadley Van Schalkwyk is injured or he was just unavailable to play in this ODI tri series, there is absolutely no reason to drop him. He was the best player for the US. He was one of the top wicket takers in the entire tournament, and he was just bowling really well in India in the T20 World Cup. So I don't see why he was not even selected in the 15-man squad for USA in this tri-series here. As I said, unless he's either injured or he has personal commitments, so he doesn't want to play here. I mean, the age is not in his side. I understand he's in his late 30s, and they want to try and help more youngsters get into the senior team, want to try and be a bit more younger, which is understandable. I get it. But Ritvik Apidi, he was playing in the under 19 World Cup earlier this year. I know he got the wicket of Vaibhav Suryavanshi against India, which was awesome, but USA did lose the game. Well, that's far from the point. But he hasn't played in Major League Cricket, as far as I remember. I don't remember seeing him play in any of the matches in the previous year of MLC in 2025. Maybe in 26 he'll get more opportunities, but that's what I was waiting to see. I wanted him to at least play a bit of Major League Cricket first, and if he could hold his own against some of the best players in that tournament, then yeah, I would say why not bring him in to the US squad after that. Like Rishi Lugatkar, he bowled well for MI New York in the final as well. That last over he bowled really well, and he helped New York win the title. So similarly, I thought they should have done with that with Apidi, because he's young and he didn't have to be fast tracked so soon into the squad. But hey, good for him. He got selected. If he does play a game, then hopefully he does well. But I don't have much expectations. That's probably the one substitution that is quite shocking for me as a USA fan, that Ritvik Apidi made it into the squad over Shadley Van Schalkwyk. But apart from these changes, I think, yeah, Monang Patel, he's the captain, so he's obviously a no-brainer choice. Shahan Jahangir as the other opener wicketkeeper, that's good to see. Yeah. Shehan Jayasuriya, he being a part of the squad was a little surprising. I know he was part of the T20 World Cup squad. He didn't play any games. He's not a bad option, Jayasuriya. I would say he can bowl. He's an all-rounder. Maybe an extra left-hander. Yeah, the US do have a little problem with some left-handers. They don't have enough left-handers in the top order. Maybe he could provide that, but at the same time, the other players that they pick, I don't know if Shehan Jayasuriya would make it over them, because USA also bring in Sanjay Krishnamurthy, Milind Kumar, Sai Teja Mukamala, Milind Kumar, if I mentioned Milind Kumar already, I'm sorry, but yeah, even Shubham Ranjane, and Harmeet Singh. So I don't see where he could get into the playing 11, Shehan Jayasuriya, but maybe if you really want to have that extra left-hander, then he's not a bad option, in my opinion. And then, yeah, I obviously mentioned the other people: Sanjay Krishnamurti, Milind Kumar, Sai Teja Mukamala, Shubham Ranjane, Harmeet Singh, and Rishi Lugarkar. I already mentioned that. And yeah, there's obviously the man himself, Saurabh Netravalkar, the highest wicket taker for USA in ODIs as of right now. Yeah, he didn't have a good T20 World Cup, but still, I would always pick him too. He's a good bowler. Yeah, this is a squad that USA have selected for this Tri Series. I would say it's a decent squad. It's just that there's no Shadley, Van Skalkwyk, and they picked Ritvik Apidi, a recent under 19 World Cup player. It's a bit of a surprise for me, really. But maybe it's not a bad thing in one way. It's giving youngster more exposure to the senior team, and he could be a future cornerstone of USA cricket. Maybe within the next 5 years, he'll be the guy because Netravalkar is getting older. And maybe the T20 World Cup was a sign that, he's slowly running out of form because he's getting older, and even Shadley is not going to play much longer. So it's only a matter of time that USA have to get some youngsters in as well. And I think Rishi Lugarkar is one of them who could replace the legends in the future, and maybe Ritvik Apidi is another one who the USA have seen already. And if that's the case, then fair. But I think bringing a PD was just a little too soon already. I was thinking he might be selected, but maybe not in 2026. I was thinking more in 2027 or 2028. Ideally in 2028, if USA could make the World Cup in 2027 and then have like a bit of a new team, having a couple more youngsters, that would have been like the perfect scenario to bring in Ritvik Apidi, in terms of like rebuilding the squad again, after making an ODI World Cup, hopefully. Of course, USA, they haven't made it yet. They first of all need to confirm a spot in the top four of this ICC Cricket World Cup League 2 table to make it to the World Cup qualifier, which will be played next year in 2027. I don't know where and when. And then, and in the top four of that qualifier to make the World Cup in late 2027. Yeah, overall, I would say the squad's fine. As I said, just the one change that was really shocking. But then, yeah, Smith Patel for Andres House doesn't really surprise me. There's no Ehsan Adil, who came in as a replacement player for Jesse Singh in the T20 World Cup. Yeah, I agree with that. Also, Nosh Kenjige back into the team. Now, that's good. So, USA apparently played a couple of warm-up matches against Nepal A, and they lost both of them in the final over. So, they were close games, but USA lost both of the warm-up matches. Now, they are just warm-up matches, so it's not really something to fuss about that they lost both of them, but they didn't play against like the full Nepal team. They played against the backup Nepal players. No disrespect to anyone, but yeah, if USA couldn't beat them, I mean, they're gonna have some tough times against the real Nepal team as well, because it's not gonna be easy. And that's why, based on the title of this video, this might be the toughest ODI tri-series that the USA will play in the remaining three tri-series of ICC Cricket World Cup League 2, because they are playing against Nepal in Nepal, and when Nepal play at home, they're usually a pretty good team, and when their backs are against the wall, we saw what happened in the previous cycle. They went on 11 win, not 11 game winning streak, but they won 11 out of the last 12 games and got into the World Cup qualifier directly without having to play the playoff in 2023. So Nepal are capable of such crazy runs, and the last tri-series they had won three games out of 4, so they are showing signs of that again, and they are a team to watch out for. And then the other team on the tri-series is Scotland. Well, Scotland, they're obviously one of the best associate sides in cricket. Yeah, and the last time USA played against Scotland in ICC Cricket World Cup League 2 was in 2024, when the USA was the host nation, and they had lost both the games against Scotland pretty one-sided as well. So USA have a lot to make up for that. Can they win against Scotland in neutral ground now? That's going to be a difficult task, but hopefully they can do it there. I really hope USA could beat Scotland at least once in this tri-series, because If not, then yeah, USA are going to be in a bit more trouble than we assume. They are at the top of the table right now. They have a 2 point lead over Scotland, and they've played 4 games less compared to Scotland. But they need to have at least a decent try series. Got to win at least 2 games to try and keep that top spot, because USA will be in a bit more trouble. They'll come down to second position and not be in as good of a lead compared to the other teams than they've got right now. Ideally, if they can win all 4 games, then that'll be fantastic. The warm-up matches was not a great sign, but Scotland also did lose to Nepal A, so maybe there is hope for USA. They could beat Scotland in Nepal, and if they could win both of them, that'll be fantastic. Obviously, beating Nepal in Nepal is also a challenge, so it's not going to be easy. USA did beat Nepal twice at home in USA in that same tri-series in October of 2024, and then last year as well in 2025 they did beat Nepal twice in UAE. So they have won 4 games against Nepal so far in 4 matches, but these 2 games in Nepal they're going to be tricky. They're going to be the hardest to beat Nepal in Nepal, but if they can, then that's fantastic. Of course, yeah, if USA do win all 4 games, they will firmly hold that first spot, and at that point, if they do win all 4 games, they will have 44 points after 28 games, and it would be safe to say at that time that USA would have pretty much logged in one of the top 4 spots of the ICC Cricket World Cup League 2 table, which means they can start thinking about the World Cup qualifier next year. Of course, there's still a long way to go, and by the time I do post this video, the first game of the tri-series may have already happened, which is between Nepal and Scotland. USA do not play until May 13th. We're in USA, but it's May 14th and Nepal. Yeah, May 14th morning is where they play the first game of the tri-series, and I believe it is against Scotland as well, if I'm not mistaken. So, or it could be Nepal, whichever one, it doesn't really matter. I think it's Scotland though. Yeah, so the first game is against Scotland. As I said, the 2 warm-up matches they may have lost. It's a bit worrisome because both of them, it went to the last over. USA couldn't defend the target in the first warm-up match. They made 260, and they couldn't defend it. They lost the game by 3 wickets. It was a close game. It went to the last over. And then the second game, Nepal scored pretty much the same thing as well. I think 264, 265. I remember seeing the scorecard just once, and yeah, that's about it. And then USA, they got all out for 258, I think. Yeah, the last over, they needed 8 runs to win, and then Shahan Jayasuriya, who was playing well, he was the reason USA still had a chance, but then he went for the maximum, and he couldn't hit it for 6, he got out. So it was a bit unfortunate, but yeah, it is what it is. If you have to make the mistakes, make them in the warm-up matches, because they don't really count towards any record. It's just a matter for USA to try and get used to the conditions. So that's what the main positive was. And they were able to hold well against Nepal A. But at the same time, I mean, if they had won the game, it would have given them more confidence coming into the tri-series for the real matches. But yeah, hopefully they learn from the warm-up matches. They select a good 11 for the real games, and hopefully put their best performance in the real matches and win them. That's all I could hope for. Yeah, expectations for USA in this tri-series, not very high, to be quite honest with you. I mean, as I did mention a couple of times already, it's the toughest tri-series for USA. And yeah, playing against Nepal and Scotland, it's not going to be easy at all. Of course, ideally would want to see USA win all 4 games, but that's probably too much to ask for. If they could win at least 2 games, at least beat Scotland once, I think that's the main goal, or that's the main thing that USA should accomplish. Can they beat Scotland at least once in the 2 games in this tri-series? I think that's really the only thing that I want to see, really. That's one. It's not really an expectation either, in my opinion. It's more of a wish or a goal that they need to accomplish. Hopefully they can do it on May 14th itself, the first game, then they play against Scotland. Hopefully they win that game, start out the tri-series with the win, and accomplish the goal, which I hope that USA can get in this tri-series. And then, yeah, whatever happens from there happens from there. Yes, I would expect and, say if USA can get 2 wins in this tri-series, I would say they did decent. 3 wins is very good, and 4 wins is just awesome. I would say, yeah, if they won 4 games, they did a wonderful job in this tri-series. But yeah, to be more realistic, if they can get 2 wins, especially 1 win against Scotland, at least 1 win against Scotland, then they did well. They would have succeeded in my eyes for this particular tri-series. Because the other 2 tri-series that USA do play, one is going to be at home, and another one, it's going to be at another neutral venue. And based on what I've seen, it's supposed to be played in Canada. So if that's the case, then both the remaining tri-series are in North American soil. So hopefully USA can take advantage of those continental conditions and do well there to compensate for maybe not doing so well here in Nepal. But if USA can do really well in Nepal, then that makes it a little more easier for the last 2 tri-series in ICC Cricket World Cup League 2. Yeah, coming to just talk a little bit about Nepal and Scotland real quick. I think Nepal pretty much have come in with the same team for this tri-series as well. Yeah, it's good to see that they are sticking with the team that gave them success against UAE and Oman. I mean, why not? If you've won 3 out of 4 games, then you absolutely should come in with the same team. I think there's just one change from this 15 that they've selected here in Nepal. I don't see Bashir Ahmed, who played against UAE or Oman in one of the games. And they brought in Ishan Pandey instead, looks like. So that's probably the one change they've made. Okay, I mean, not too many changes, so I would say that's more important. You want to stick with the team that's been winning. And then Scotland as well. I mean, they're playing their best team, I would say. They got, George Munsey, Brandon McMullen, Michael Leask, Mark Watt, Brad Curry, and others. Richie Barrington, the captain himself, how could I forget? And Matt Cross. So I would say they're playing their good team as well, Scotland. It's going to be a really good tri-series, hopefully. As a neutral and a USA fan, especially as a USA fan, I hope it's a great tri-series for USA. But even as a neutral fan, if you end up watching this tri-series, it should be a good one, because Nepal at home are really good. And then they're playing against the top 2 teams of this ICC Cricket World Cup League 2 edition as of right now, which are USA and Scotland. So it's not going to be easy for any team, actually, when you think about it this way. I mean, of course, any game in ICC Cricket World Cup League 2 is not an easy game, because all teams are talented and any team can beat the other team on any given day. So none of the games are easy, but for all 3 teams in this particular tri-series, it's going to be difficult, because for USA and Scotland, when they face each other, it's in a neutral venue, and it's like the 1 versus 2 matchup. So when the top 2 teams play each other, it's always going to be a battle. And then when USA and Scotland, they are going to play against Nepal, who are the host nation of this tri-series. It's not easy to beat the home team at home. So no matter who the home team is and where they are in this table, they're a quality team, and they will have more knowledge of the conditions compared to the other teams. So that's what USA and Scotland will have a challenge with. So even though they're in the top 2 positions of the table, it will still be a challenge for both of them to play against Nepal in Nepal. And of course, Nepal, though they're the home team, they are playing against the top 2 teams. So they're going to have to expect quality players from the opposition. They're going to have to play really well, Nepal, if they want to win as many games as they can, like the last tri-series they played. So yeah, it's going to be really fun to look forward to. Of course, for me, as a USA fan and living in USA, I really cannot watch much of this tri-series because it happens late night, early morning, so it's bad timing for me. And I can only just look at the scorecard the next morning and hope to see if USA win. Now, that's about what I can do. Maybe I could watch like the starting of the game, about the first 5 to 10 overs at most. Yeah, I'm not gonna sacrifice my sleep just to watch the games because health is more important. But yeah, anyway, that'll be about it. I've rambled on for about 20 minutes. So if you've watched till here until this point, thank you so much for watching this video and or just listening to me chat about this upcoming Try series. Yeah, as I do mention a couple of times already, I just like to keep this as a podcast style. I don't have much equipment, but I just like to talk my thoughts out and hope for the best for as a USA fan that USA do well. Yeah, that'll be about it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did like the video, please do like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content. But until the next video, that'll be it. Bye.